Now to the latest, Israel at war. Israelis and Palestinians blaming each other after an explosion at a Gaza City hospital kills more than 500 people. Palestinian authorities first said the blast was the result of an Israeli airstrike. Israel's military maintains it had no involvement in the explosion. Well, as the Mideast teeters on the brink of wider war, local hospitals have been thrust onto the front lines. At Soroka Medical Center, just 25 miles from the Gaza Strip, healthcare workers found themselves on 36-hour shifts as they treated more than 900 patients in the days following last Saturday's Hamas attack. With more, we are joined by our resident medical expert, board-certified ER Dr. Michael Daignault, who lived and trained at that very medical center, Soroka. Thanks so much. You can really provide incredible perspective. So Soroka Medical Center right now receiving all those war injuries, those patients. Paint a picture for us. What's it like?
Yeah, as you mentioned, I mean, it's only 25, 30 miles away from Gaza Strip, and I think the acute stage of responding to that initial attack by Hamas has passed. But the issue now is a lot of these patients that underwent initial surgery to stabilize them are going to require additional post-op surgeries, especially to fix broken bones and things like that. And so those surgeries are going to take up space in the OR, and this comes at a time where Soroka, being the closest, largest regional medical center to Gaza, is probably on war footing, and they're trying to prepare for an influx of soldiers that might come in if this leads to a ground invasion by Israel.
And what about the fact that many of these hospitals are running low on supplies? I mean, you actually went to medical school there. I'm not sure if it was during war-torn times, but did you ever experience that, and how dire is the situation?
Right. So during my second and my fourth year, Israel and Hamas were involved in similar conflict, but not on this scale at all. I mean, supplies were never an issue, but I imagine going forward, it's something to think about. I mean, and you look at, you know, what's going on in Gaza, the hospitals and the supply issues that they're having. A lot of the ventilators and machines that are required to keep critical patients alive depend on fuel, and right now fuel is limited in Gaza and running out, and also fuel is needed for the machines to purify the water in Gaza Strip as well, and those are all dependent on fuel supplies.
So many things that we don't think about. Well, most of the hospitals are under evacuation orders. Here in Southern California, we have wildfires and earthquakes that we prepare for.
Right.
So as an ER doctor, is there an evacuation plan in place for our hospitals, and how does that work?
I mean, you think about what happened at White Memorial Hospital back in August, where their generators failed and they had to transfer hundreds of patients to additional areas on campus, and then I think they had to transfer about 28 critical patients to other hospitals. The more critical a patient is, the more likely they're going to be connected to a ventilator and IV pumps delivering multiple medications. And so even when we transfer patients within the hospital, there's always a risk that a tube can become dislodged, the endotracheal tube can become dislodged, you run out of battery power just within the hospital. So it's a big endeavor for a hospital to decide to evacuate. And that's within Southern California, where you have multiple hospitals where you can potentially, you can ask them for help to pick up taking your critical patients. But in a place like, you know, Gaza, I can't imagine that process, and a lot of those doctors and nurses are staying with their patients as long as they possibly can.
And what are your thoughts on the development today of the bombing at this particular hospital in Gaza, both sides not taking responsibility, blaming the other one, but according to Hamas, at least 500 people killed, and here's some of the aftermath that we're showing folks.
I mean, you would expect that all parties in a conflict would follow the rules of law for wartime to avoid hospitals either intentionally or accidentally. And, you know, just to paint a picture, I used to work for Doctors Without Borders, and I was reading what one of the surgeons said at the Gaza hospital. They were literally in the OR. They were operating, and the ceiling came down during the OR. And these patients are under general anesthesia. They probably have their abdomen exposed if they're trying to repair like a traumatic injury, and then the ceiling comes down, and you continue to do the best you can to treat the patients during those situations. And so, you know, I just hope going forward and both sides make better effort to avoid targeting and damaging hospitals like this.
What you just said is so stunning. So in the middle of surgery, the roof, the ceiling collapses.
Of the OR, right, and they continue to operate and just do the best they can with what they had.
My goodness. Well, thank you for your perspective tonight.
My pleasure.
It really is eye-opening. Dr. Michael Daignault.
Yes,
I'll talk to you next week.